have the distinct pleasure of being able to introduce Dr. Mariane Assad Doyle, and I'll let her introduce her students when they're up here. But Dr. Doyle is the Director of Career and Adult Education for the William S. Hart Union High School District and a lecturer in the Educational Leadership and Policy Studies Department at Cal State University Northridge. She is also a lead editor for the Journal of School Administration and Research Development. Dr. Doyle has been an educator for 18 years and a leader in career education for 11. Her industry background includes several years in software development as a product analyst, working in quality assurance and with beta sites, and as a technical writer, as well as a hospitality marketing professional. Quite the resume. Very nice. She holds a doctorate of philosophy from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Go Cornhuskers, I think, right? Oh. And a master's and bachelor's in English literature from Cal State Long Beach. During her tenure at the Hart District, Dr. Doyle has built over 100 career pathways, obtained more than $13 million in grant funding, and expanded how the district serves students by extending career education to junior highs and alternative education settings through career exploration programs. Dr. Doyle is an equity advocate whose research is focused on educational programming that provides pathways to college for disadvantaged and underserved populations. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mariane Doyle.
I did a presentation on Saturday, and that's a really intimidating sounding resume. And so when I stood up, they were all like, they took a deep breath because I think they thought I was like 90. One woman actually said, "Are you 90? Like, what is this?" Lots of plastic surgery. But I'm a typical Zennial or Millennial or Generation X. We do a lot of things concurrently. So that's the explanation if you're wondering. I would love to actually welcome my boss up to say a few words if that's okay. Mr. Coleman's our Deputy Superintendent, and so I'll let him set the stage.
It's a shorter introduction, but I got the music on the way up, so Dr. Doyle wanted to share that with you. So welcome, everybody. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Mike Coleman. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of the Hart District, and I really appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to visit with us and learn a little bit about our programs. I'm really excited to hear from our students and the impact that the career pathways have had on their career journey. Before we begin, I wanted to take just a quick moment to introduce by way of two things. The first was I wanted to share a little bit of a snapshot about the Hart District, because I know that there are some here in the room that have maybe students that have matriculated through our district, but others may be aware that there's a Hart District out there, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of the highlights of some of our programs. And secondly, I wanted to finish by asking and answering the question, why do we exist as a district? What is our fundamental purpose for being? Because I think that relates to the subject at hand today. So if you haven't heard, I'm going to begin with a little bit of celebration. The Hart District was just recently selected as an exemplary school district, one of only 18 districts honored across California, and the only district in Los Angeles County to be given this honor, and that deserves some applause. We are very proud of this designation. It is a big deal. The Exemplary Districts Award celebrates the achievements of districts that have implemented model practices that have had a positive impact on student outcomes. So today, in just this brief moment, I wanted to share with you just a couple of those model practices so that you can become familiar with the Hart District and think about ways that we can continue to partner helping students take that next step in life. So, the Hart District is made up of 16 junior high and high school sites. We have 12 comprehensive sites, 4 innovative alternative sites, and one site on the way. You all should have heard that Castaic High School is scheduled to be opening this fall, so we're excited about that. The Hart District is the second largest employer in the Santa Clarita Valley. We employ over 2,000 people as teachers, administrators, and support personnel. We serve a total population of 22,000 students on a daily basis, which is quite an accomplishment. Hart District annually outperforms their county peers on English and math state assessments, and we're proud that we are among the highest performing in the state of California, something that you can fact check if those of you who are outside of education or new to this is that you can Google California School Dashboard, and there is an accountability site there that will allow you to take a look at our district in comparison with other school districts, and we're proud of the accomplishments therein. We are especially proud in our valley of our strong collaboration with the College of the Canyons. We have a unique partnership that enables us to offer dual credit classes at high schools and at the college. Classes, some of which are actually taking place at the high school, others are offered at the college, that fulfill graduation requirements and earn college credit at the same time. In fact, I have a son that attends the Academy of the Canyons. Are you guys familiar with the Academy of the Canyons? We have a fan over here. And one of the neat things about the Academy of the Canyons is that each year, on the day before graduation, a group of students come through and actually they earn their associate's degree, or 2, or 3, before they actually earn their high school diploma. And this is the kind of story that's made possible about the partnership that we have with COC. We graduate, we are proud to say, over 96% of the students that come through our schools. With regard to technology, we are proud of the fact that we are pushing the envelope to make sure that our students are prepared for the work of the 21st century. We have, amazingly, over 30,000 student mobile devices deployed throughout our district. And that equates to better than a one-to-one student-to-teacher ratio, student to computer ratio, made possible by these portable Chromebook carts that we have available in each of our classrooms. And a neat little side story I should note with that is that part of our Refresh program is that when these computers are officially designated as having fulfilled their usable life, they are donated to one of our nonprofits, the Wish Foundation, which makes it possible for us to take those that have a little bit of usable life still on them, available to students that do not have access to technology at home, which here in our valley is a larger number than you would actually think. And recently there was a neat story with that, is that we had the opportunity with the recent Camp Fire, the victims of the Camp Fire. You were required that tragically, Paradise County or Paradise City was affected by that, and we were able to send several thousand of those computers out to that school site to help those folks get back on their feet. So we're proud of our work with technology. We are nationally recognized through music, choir, dance, and theater for our performing arts. The students of the Hart District enjoy access to some of the most outstanding programs around. And I don't know if anyone here was by chance available or part of, I think some people in the back, I think Gloria and Bruce may have been there for Miss Catherine Spula's final concert. And just an example of the kinds of things that come about because of what's made available in the Hart District. Miss Spula was a longtime legend at Placerita Junior High School. She taught music and choir. And after 33 years, she performed her final concert recently. And I just had to point out, it was kind of a neat, I think, example of what happens when kids are given these kinds of opportunities. There was a student that went through her program at the junior high, matriculated to Hart High School, went through Anthony Bailey's program there, is now at UCLA studying music, and he composed a piece for her retirement that she hadn't heard until that actual event. He played it on the piano, accompanied by a beautiful young lady's voice and strings in the background, and it was a Mr. Holland's Opus moment. It was one of those things that are made possible by our performing arts programs in the Hart District. I do want to just take note of the fact that we're proud of our work with facilities in the Hart District. We successfully passed a bond measure in 2008, and we are on track to complete $300 million in facilities improvements across our district, highlighted by things such as new classroom buildings at Placerita Junior High School, Sierra Vista, and Hart, 2 beautiful new performing arts centers at Saugus High School and Canyon High School. Has anybody seen those, actually? I was the principal at Canyon, and I did not get to actually use this Performing Arts Center. So I really, really appreciate what's made possible by that. And of course, I mentioned that we are scheduled to open up a state-of-the-art new high school this fall in Castaic. Go Coyotes. And we are once again innovating in our collaboration with COC, where we are going to be offering college courses to be taken on that campus with the idea that students who graduate with Castaic can leave with up to 1 year of college credit, in addition to certifications associated with these career pathways that you'll hear a little bit more about today. I could talk about athletics. I know Mr. Jensen would appreciate that, a big supporter of high school athletics. We are a district that has an enviable record of regional, state, and even national championships with our sporting activities. And we have a wonderful relationship with Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital, and a partnership that has made possible for us to have full-time athletic trainers at each of our high school sites, something that's only available at about 20% of the high schools in the state of California. So we're really proud of that, given our concern about students' health, and even with some education for preventative medicine. So I could go on. I have many reasons that I could share my excitement about the work being done in the Hart District, but it fundamentally comes down to me a question. So with all that we're going on, to what end? What's the purpose of all this? And we could talk about all the things that are happening in the district, but why do we exist as a district? I didn't want to get too philosophical with you, but I'd like to suggest to you that our fundamental purpose is to prepare students for this next step in life, for college and career. And that's why all of your collaboration with us helps us in our mission to prepare students for that next step. We are recognizing that we need to make education something that's relevant and meaningful and directly connected to the workplace or college or career. So with that in mind, that leads directly then to our student panel, which I hope that you are interested in hearing a little bit about. These students who are participating in our college and career readiness program, as been noted, I just wanted to highlight the fact that through grant funding, we have obtained over $12 million in funding to support significant investments in career preparation facilities. And we have over 75 career pathways at the high school and 30 plus at the junior high, helping students to explore the possibilities that they have before them, made possible by the Hart District and our connection with all of you. So thank you for being here, and Dr. Doyle is still here. I will turn it over to you, and let's hear from our panel.
I'm going to use the handheld mic because I pace, and that's like a jail. So before I bring up our students, I just have some points to share with you very, very quickly. The Hart District Career Pathway, our mission, if you will, I've highlighted the key aspects of our mission. By the way, this mission was created by business members like yourselves who participate in the Career Readiness Collaborative. So as you can see, while our pathways are rigorous, we are focused on academic, but again, thanks to our employers, we know that the employability skills, those professional skills, need to be front and center. So that's what you see in our mission statement for those careers of tomorrow. Just a smattering of our career pathways that we offer in the district. Hopefully you'll be able to identify with at least one of them. In your folders from VIA, we actually have just hot off the presses produced a district-wide career pathway brochure. And on your tables, there's just a few examples of our individual career pathway brochures. And so I hope that you'll have a chance to kind of look at our marketing material, and as we kind of move forward with really getting the word out there about the fantastic pathways we have throughout the Hart District. And as we said, there's 76 of them. Many of them are repeated throughout the district, so there's a total of 32 different kinds of pathways, which is really significant for a district of our size. So making learning work is where the rubber hits the road. This is where we invite you, as much as possible, to lead the way in career technical education and career development for our students. The graphs that you see here, the important thing is that you see the trends. On the left is a graph that talks about employment, right? So participation of the 16 to 19-year-old workforce. So as you can see on the far left-hand side is 1956, is that right? And so it drops all the way down to the future on the front, at the very far right on that left graph, which is the projection for 2024. So what's happened trend-wise is started about 52%, goes down, dips to 34% at this current time, and then the projection is down to 24.5%. So that means that 16 to 19-year-olds are participating at almost half the rate as they used to in the workforce. On the right-hand side is the same kind of depiction, but it has to do with summer employment. So we know, okay, during the school year, students are busy, we get that, but during the summer, there tends to be a peak. There still tends to be a peak. But once again, we've gone from, a long time ago, it was actually 57%, and then it progressed all the way up to 71%, and now we're seeing, at this current time, this snapshot actually was taken in 2008, down to 43%. So we continue to see projections that are diminishing in that youth employment. Lots of theories as to why that is, but it's important because as all of us continue to have these conversations around, why aren't the young people prepared for the workforce today? Why is it that they show up and they don't know how to behave in the workforce? They don't exhibit those professionalism skills. Well, a lot of the times they got that while they were on the job working for you. A lot of the times it had more to do with their interaction with business partners than it did with what we can prepare them with in the classroom. And so this is actually even more pronounced with students of color. And so you'll see again, teenage unemployment, if you see it's broken down, on the far left-hand side, African American students between the ages of 16 and 19 are unemployed at a rate of 43% by comparison to their Caucasian counterparts at almost 23%. These are really conservative statistics. I've seen it as high as 60% unemployment for African American students. And so again, this study by the Urban Alliance really kind of shows there's a really significant slight, if you will, against our students of color when it comes to being prepared for professional workplaces, and that's an area that we need to be focused on. The same study really talks about what do students gain by being engaged with you all as employers. You see kind of a list here. It was really significant to me to see that students, if they have some employment opportunity while they're in high school, that following year after they graduate, almost 100% of them are also employed. So they gained the experience from you all, and they're able to persist. And persistence is probably the biggest key to success for our students, for this new generation. And I think, music to the ears of our business advisory panels that we work with so closely is that this is where students earn those professionalism skills or soft skills, is by interacting with each of you. So this is where I transition to bringing up our student voices. Come on up, guys. Our focus for this academic year has been on student voice, and so we've engaged students throughout the year to speak with our business partners, to speak with our faculty and our staff as well, and they've done an incredible job. And I'm going to have them introduce themselves in just a moment. Thank you. Great, so I'm going to give Zach his mic so he can lead us off here in a minute. We're just going to open up, first of all, by self-introductions, who you are. Oh, look, Niamani got the cool chair. Check that out. You can recline and everything. I think they put the lazy boys situation going there. So if you would introduce yourself, your name, who you are, again, pathway, so forth, as we've talked about, and you guys can run away with it. Thanks. They let me keep my own mic. They're in trouble. Go ahead.
So my name is Zachary Feinberg. I'm a senior at Saugus High School, and I'm in the engineering pathway. I've been in it for all 4 years, and this is my final year in engineering development and design course.
My name is Kaylee Crawford. I am also a senior at Saugus High School. I am in the pharmacy pathway for health sciences.
My name is Niamani Knight. I am also senior at Saugus High School, and I'm in my final year of the engineering pathway.
I'm Skylar. I'm a junior at Saugus, and I'm in the veterinary/animal science pathway.
I'm Nevin Tilch. I recently graduated from Bowman High School, and I'm looking into business administration as well as manufacturing for my career pathway.
Thank you. Can you each tell us a little, you can hear me? Whether or not, or what your plans are rather, now that you're either seniors or going into your senior year, what your long-term plans look like?
So first off, I'll be going to COC for 2 years to do my prerequisite courses there. I'm planning on doing an internship over the summer at a CNC machining shop, as well as some part-time employment here in the Valley. And then I'd like to go into a career in mechanical engineering with a focus on manufacturing.
I will be attending Xavier University, which is a 4-year university in Cincinnati, Ohio. My major is going to be nursing with a minor in psychology, and my end goal is to be a physician's assistant with the under of nursing in PEDS and OBGYN.
I'll be attending College of the Canyons for about 2 years. Through that time, I will continue the work through my organization, Stream Kids Expo. We are currently located in 3 states and 6 cities, so my goal is to really continue traveling and connecting the dots between education and career for my peers.
I'm the youngest here, so I'll be going to my senior year. So the animal science program, we have an internship for my whole senior year, and then hopefully I'll get into Cal Poly San Luis Obispo to be a vet.
I originally planned to go straight into college and do a dive into the 2 fields for business and for manufacturing because I wanted to run my own manufacturing firm. Recently, a wrench has been thrown in my works, and I have an opportunity to be at the forefront of running multiple restaurants very streamlined. So I'm actually discovering what I'm going to do. I'm on the fence. Quite truly.
All right. And this question is for everyone in the group. How are you better prepared for college and career today than you were before you started your career pathway?
I'll start that one off. So for my own experience, I didn't know much about pharmacy or the medical field as I thought I did. Through this pharmacy pathway, I learned what are the differences between clerk, technician, and pharmacist, the different pathways of pharmacy itself, such as nuclear, in-hospice, outpatient, inpatient, and such of that. I also learned how to deal with certain type of patients and how to deal with a crisis in between that and how to stay calm during those crises. I also learned how pharmacy can work in all different aspects of the medical field. So, for example, I said I'm going into nursing. With that, having a pharmacy technician's license underneath that is very, very big because you understand how to work with drugs and what adverse reactions happen with different drugs that you are giving to patients and how you're dealing with them with the patient if something happens.
I'd like to jump in. I took the manufacturing class in our STEM lab, and that kind of opened the door to things like quality assurance. It opened the door to things like repeating the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. And this actually translated over into my restaurant workplace because customers will always expect that they get the same meal every single time when they order what they order, or they get what they see on the posters. The manufacturing class also introduced a lot of, cost, and then production cost, and then byproduct, product, a lot of the interactions with not only you and the customer, but you and the end result of your product. And that really actually translated very nicely over into a fast food job, which is turning into a business job and an administrative job and a job where I'm running the whole show, not just making the pizzas. So these programs that we're introducing are very, very good for getting yourself out of the mindset of I'm just making a pizza into I am running a manufacturing, a repeated process.
So I'll go. One of the biggest things I've taken away from my 4 years in the engineering program is kind of a more in-depth perspective on the whole process of engineering a product all the way up until the point where it's distributed, wherever that may end up going. And there's a lot of different fields we focused on in engineering. Personally, I was in the aerospace course last year, so aside from learning all of the technical skills that go along with actually aerospace engineering, you learn about the fundamentals of the process, how you go from concept to design to actual product. And I've found this year, I've really been able to put that, into practice in the 4th year capstone. We've spent the entire 2 semesters working on a sole project that really, my group of 4 people, we've been running the whole thing from day one, all the way up to identifying a problem, coming up with a solution, realizing that solution wasn't going to work, so starting over, which is a real part of the process. And I think the hands-on, the actual experience of having a design, taking it all the way through to the testing phase, and then realizing, oh shoot, we got to do this again, and going back to the drawing board and starting over. So that process, that experience, in my opinion, is invaluable. Taking that into the workplace, learning how to cope with it and learning how the process goes and how to persevere through to take you to that final product.
Going off of what Zach said about concepts, that's another big one, is you could be doing a job for so long, and you could be doing the same thing over and over again, but yet someone's going to ask you, what's the meaning behind it, or what is this? And you might not even know what that is, and knowing the concept behind of what you're doing and why you're doing it is a big one, and I do think that the pathways definitely show that, and most of the pathways, if I'm correct, I know for health sciences they do, is one of the chapters and one of the units of it is what are you doing and why you're doing it, and the concept behind health sciences on its own. So I also think that definitely prepared us to understand what we were getting into.
Going back to what Zach said for the capstone class, I think allowing it to be a student-led class and just allowing us to find the problems and to make mistakes and to find a solution for it has been very helpful in a sense of our transition from high school to career, because that's a lot of what it is. It's finding problems, finding solutions for those problems. And so I think that the training that we've learned, of course, over the first 3 years of the course, but then going into this capstone year and to identifying the problem that we want to solve with the help of our peers in the class and getting their constructive criticism on it, and then being able to turn to our teacher if we need help in those situations has really helped me just in my development as well.
Like Kaylee was saying, how we're both in the medical field, the classes that we do take have helped me find confidence in getting jobs inside of that field, because when I first started out, I was in sports med. I was just doing regular biology. I had no drive to be in that veterinary field, and with this class, it's helped me have a drive, help volunteer, help with animals. Taking my own vet to the clinic has given me more confidence talking to doctors, working with them. So that's what helped me.
Thank you. So Kaylee and Zach, we have spent some time looking at data. We spent some time talking about how important it is to all of the employers here that you are prepared with professionalism skills, employability skills, aka soft skills. How has your career and college readiness pathway helped to prepare you?
For my own experience, definitely prepared me to work with patients and different types of patients. In the medical field, you're going to deal with many different types of patients and many different types of problems as you would in any other career field. Personally, I learned how to stay calm and patient with people, which is a very big skill to have, and then also have emotional intelligence. And personally, emotional intelligence, to learn how to have that and how to do well with that is a big thing in any business industry or any industry in general, in my opinion. It's just as important as an IQ would be, just because you're learning how to stable your emotions, you're learning how to work with different types of emotions and different types of people. And personally, I think that's a big factor to have, because then you learn from that you learn how to communicate with someone, and you learn how to work with someone better or work with a patient better. And personally, I think that definitely helped better prepare me.
The biggest thing my classes prepared me for is working in a really collaborative environment. Especially this last year. We've been doing group projects all the way since my freshman year, but to form a group of 4 people, day one of your senior year, and then, I'm still working with them to this day, every day, have to work with that same group of people. You work with different personalities. You work with people who are, more outgoing, people who are maybe not as outgoing, but still have just as important of things to say and to contribute. And you also work with people who, maybe are not so, fitting in a group environment. And it's given me a chance, both to be able to expand my skills working in a team, as well as, firsthand kind of see If I'm working on a team, what are the things that I'm looking for in the teammates? Going forward into the future, being in any sort of collaborative environment, which very much the engineering field is a collaborative space. You've got a lot of people contributing ideas, working together, really on one product, one idea. So learning how to work with a team, learning how to take all of the ideas that your group contributes and really hone that into a singular vision. That's the biggest thing I've taken away, specifically this past year.
Building off of that, definitely teamwork is a big one. Like you said, you get to work with different personalities, different types of people, and that's also a big one, and it also kind of helps you figure out what environment you prefer to be in. Starting out, I rather wanted to be in a sports med, like Skylar was talking about, but then I learned that wasn't really the route I wanted to go, and I wanted to work strictly with children or infants or mothers of infants and stuff like that. And so it definitely shows you, like, after that, you start to see the type of people you'd be working with, and you start to realize, okay, I like this more. I like this more than working with what I was working with before. And then you tend to realize that tends to put you in a better motivation to keep doing that. And so I think that also shows us, like, what to be prepared for anyways. So.
Thank you. So Nevin, Niamani, it's that time of year where people are thinking about applying for college, they're thinking about applying for jobs. What has set you apart, or what are the kinds of experiences that you engage in to make you have that competitive edge to come out ahead of the competition?
Discipline. 100% what it comes down to, as far as my biggest advantage, is discipline. Being able to get up and to deal with something that I don't like to get a result that I do like. Getting up early in the morning, staying till really late at my job, willing to come back over and over and over again, and be willing to put up with the humility that comes with being a worker, and being able to do these particular tasks that you don't think you deserve to do, but are probably crucial or fundamental. Being disciplined and being able to persevere through these simple things is what sets apart a worker from a brand builder, from somebody who is working to excel or working to rise, or what's the word for it? Uplift your product and your company. When you are disciplined and when you are willing to sacrifice some of your own personal satisfaction or personal gratification for the greater good of the company, of the product, or even your paycheck, the ability to be disciplined and the ability to persevere through those tribulations is crucial. And I think that's probably my strongest edge, and something that was dealt to me through these educational programs.
I would definitely agree with that. I would say something else as well. Just being able to take a hold of the opportunities that come in front of us. Being in the four-year engineering program, I'm also in journalism. I've worked in career since I was 13. So taking a hold of those possibilities and then being able to go and provide them for other students as well. There's nothing better than when you're working with industry. I think you learn so much. I've learned how to send emails, how to make cold calls, the proper way to dress when you go to interviews, and functions like this, which many of my peers sadly don't get on a day-to-day basis. And so being able to kind of take those skills in along with the skills that we're learning in our educational institutions as well.
I think, may I continue?
Oh, yeah,
Thank
please,
you.
yeah.
I think it's also very important to understand why so many people kind of fall away from, they're intimidated by the workforce. A lot of people are kind of motivated in this funny way to step over dollars in the name of grabbing pennies, or they will bypass opportunities and they will basically devoid and separate themselves from these advantages, these things that are given to them, in the name of pursuing something that is unrealistic, and being down to earth and being kind of introduced to the opportunities that are available by peers, by schools, by family members even, is crucial. Because when you are avoiding opportunities for growth and for change, and you are kind of setting yourself aside from what you can do for what you want to do, you start to fall away from being a successful person in any merit, worker, business owner, brand builder, whatever.
With that being said, I think it goes back to just owning your success. And I think that's something that separates all 5 of us up here on the panel, is we took a hold of the opportunities that were placed in front of us and we continued on through it, whether it was through the hardships or through the days that I'm pretty sure most of us said we want to quit. Like, this is terrible, we don't want to see these people anymore, it's too hard. Being able to continue on through that process is something that separates us, but it's also a time for us to reach back and give that opportunity to our peers because they need it as well.
I don't know if you guys caught that, don't step over dollars to grab pennies. I've never heard that before. I think he made that up on the fly.
I actually didn't.
Didn't you? Okay.
Unfortunately, no, I didn't. I got it from a YouTube video. I have to admit it. I have to be honest. I did just grab it from a YouTube video not 2 days ago.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I love it. I'm writing that one on my wall or something. So I told them that they couldn't give us a family member for this one. I said, what relationships have been most significant in preparing you for college of career? Of course, I mean, it's really hard because mine's my dad. But I would like them to answer that. And actually, I want all of you to just, rapid fire tell us who that person is that's not a family member that's had that impact on you.
I'll start off. I have 2 people in mind that's not my family. One is actually my surgeon. He was the one who kind of really drove me to want to be in the medical field the most. Long story short, I had a career-ending injury from soccer, and I had to learn how to reprogram my knee completely back to normal. And one of those things involved pain management. And he was the one who kind of taught me how to be patient with patients and how to really understand the concepts behind, like, okay, this is this. And he started my motivation to want to help other people like that. And he was the one who kind of showed me, like, what it's like to work with kids instead of adults. And so he was the first one. And then the second one is Mr. Hugo. He is an 8th grade science teacher at Arroyo Seco. He really just showed me that I had a lot of potential, and he's been in my life for a very long time, but he really showed me that, hey, like you can do something better than this. Like, you know that you can do something better than this, and showing me that I need to own up to that. And since then, I've had so many great opportunities handed to me or that I've been able to take, and personally, I think he was a big factor into that.
So one of mine, going back to 8th grade, would be my science teacher, Mrs. Kegley. She was also my robotics teacher and my science Olympiad coach. So my 8th grade year was a big year for me. I kind of, realized I had a passion for building things. When I started, they said, who wants to build a robot for science Olympiad? I said, yeah, I'll do it. And I didn't realize how passionate I'd be about that project, and that kind of set, my whole pathway through high school, through engineering, up to this point, and I wouldn't be here without her. And then my other person is my scoutmaster. He's really opened a lot of doors for me outside of scouting. I'm an Eagle Scout, and so he's put in quite a few words for me, and his business partners, people he knows, and through that I've been able to connect with a couple internship opportunities that otherwise without him, without his willingness to, put me out there in the working world, I wouldn't have gotten to this point, having the opportunities that I have without him. So.
Going off of what Zach said, my 2 or kind of 3 are the Clipfells, and Miss Clipfell is a 7th grade biology teacher at Seiko, and Mr. Clipfell is the AP US history teacher at Saugus. And Miss Clipfell from 7th grade, she always pushed me towards animals and was like, Skylar, you need to drive and just become a vet. And along with Mr. Clipfell, they've really just helped me really go for my career. And then Miss Kegley, I've known since I was in kindergarten, and she's always been that crazy science teacher. And Clipfell and Kegley were our science Olympiad teachers, and they're just the most fun.
I have many that I've been fortunate to be around, but I'll share 2. So my first one is my 7th grade Lego robotics teacher. I remember just walking into her class, and she threw me into a group and would not let me quit any step of the way. So someone that pushed me and motivated me through a lot of things, and then I have to agree with Mr. Clipbo. He is great. I walked into his class my sophomore year for journalism, and he was screaming, and I was terrified. And I remember every time I would turn into my article, and I'd be like, this is the best that I've ever done, and it'd come back with a bunch of red ink on it, and he's like, that's love. So I think he's definitely impacted my life greatly.
It's funny thinking about someone outside of my family that's motivated me so much, because most of it has been family. For me, I had a lot of rough experiences with teachers and such. So when I came to Bowman High School, already apart from teachers, not really wanting to have anything to do with them, 2 particular teachers stood out and touched my hearts, and that was Mr. Mike Mansfield and Mr. Ravinder Atwal. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm bad. I'm sorry. Those 2 gentlemen started my relationship with Mike. I'll start with that, because how you said when you walked in, you were the person was screaming and you were terrified. I walked in, he was screaming, and I was relieved. Somebody else. No, but my relationship with him immediately, through comic relief and through him just being a person that I really felt understood me, immediately almost rekindled my trust for all teachers, even the ones that had not been too particularly wonderful to me in the past. Having that kind of open relationship with a teacher right out the get-go was crucial for me to kind of softening up a little bit and to allowing opportunities to make way for me, which leads into Ravinder, who is probably one of my favorite people on the planet. He is great, ever. Like, he's the greatest person ever, I think, maybe, I don't know. He's a science guy like me. He takes things to the extreme, but he's also grounded and reasonable. He's a mess, and it bugs me because I had to organize his classroom like 3 times because he's a mess. But I also loved it because we had this dynamic where we were both people of like reason and science, and when we sat down and we looked at a problem together, it didn't feel like he was leading me or I was leading him. It felt like a team. And so that kind of opened me up a lot as far as just the teamwork. You know, I don't even know. It's teamwork, it's family, it's a loving relationship with teachers after being cast away from so many of them for so long.
I do have one more. So they're not necessarily.
I never expected that, Kaylee, ever.
They're not blood-related family, but they've become family to me, is my dad's coworkers. So for those of you who don't know here, my dad is the principal of West Ranch. When he first started there, I wasn't happy that he was becoming a high school principal just because I was going into high school. So I thought that was a little weird. They have done more than enough to help me through this, and they have been just as big of a part to my high school career than anybody else. And I want to specifically say one person, even though they all are a part of this, is Brian Wilson. He pushed me like no other, and I appreciate him more than I have ever said. And he definitely proved to me that I have a lot of potential, just like Mr. Hugo did. And he is like an uncle to me, and unfortunately he's not here to hear me say this, but I appreciate him more than he will ever know.
Yes, we will. Thank you all. We have one final question. Since you are the future, and this is for Niamani and Skylar, what advice do you give to all of these amazing business partners to assist you as you join them in their workforce?
I would say, for me, get involved. There are 25,000 students in our...
Close.
Close, okay. Close to 25,000 students within our school district. That's 25,000 students that are going to be graduating from this district, 25,000 students that are going to be either entering into college, entering into trade school, 25,000 students that are your next generation of employees. They all need to be trained. They need the soft skills that you would like to see in your industry, especially if we're all looking to be around in the next 5 to 10 years. They need our help. And I think vice versa from the student standpoint is just provide opportunities that we can come after, that we can seek, whether that's going to be internships during the summer, or maybe it's shadowing for a day, or maybe it's just coming inside the classroom and speaking to students, because some of them just need hope. Sometimes we don't have anyone to mirror image someone that's in front of us that we can say, I can be like just like them. I can be the next business owner. I can create the next cure for cancer. I can be the next CEO of a company at a young age. And so sometimes we just need someone to replicate, someone that provides us hope, someone that we can empathize with. And I think we can do that if we all work together.
Yeah, like she was saying, with like involving us in internships and all of that, is like telling us if we are doing something wrong. Like through, especially like us in the medical field, like tell us if we're doing something wrong, because we're still learning and we are still getting all of that training. And if no one tells us that we're doing something wrong, we're just gonna keep doing the same things. So having open like communication with people that you're doing internships with, and like it's okay to make like errors and all of that, and it's better to do it in an internship than if you already have that degree and are already in the job and you're making those mistakes.
Thank you. How many of you would like to hire them? Yeah, they're pretty darn amazing. Can we have a round of applause? Thank you. So as the students have pointed out, there are a number of ways that you can engage with us at the Hart District. There's a list of those opportunities right there on the front of the screen. And we invite you to each and every one of the opportunities, or to just one, as much as you're willing to be involved and to participate. We're willing to meet you whichever way works for you. So we try to make it easy. So we decided this morning, easy as 1, 2, 3. So if you give us your business card, on the back, if you want to be shorthand and put a 1 for I want to host interns, a 2, I want to be an advisory board member, which means that you help us with the curriculum. You actually build what's happening in the course. Number 3, I want to be a classroom speaker. I'm going to come in once a year or once a semester and talk to students. Or number 4, Mariane, call me and let's talk about it. That's perfectly fine too. My staff are in the room and they're amazing. Would you all carry Nadia, Maria, could you stand up or raise your hands? Or thank you, thank you. You can give me your business card. You can give it to one of these amazing people. Mr. Coleman, of course, I'm sure would be happy to take a few as well. This is how you might connect with us in social media. So if you want to learn, hey, what's going on in the Hart District around career pathways? How are you preparing students for the future of work? This is where you're probably going to hear about it. So I would encourage you to engage with us on social media. I think we're out of time, or I would give you the opportunity for some questions and answers. I could listen to them all day because they're just fabulous. So if I could ask for another round of applause for our wonderful students.